I did it. I had to. With all the negativity coming out, I had to see for myself on Starfleet Academy on how bad this show was. Now, Kirkman Trek for me hasn't been great. I still believe, after watching these three episodes, and I'm going to say this right off the top, that Picard season 1 and 2 are still by far the worst Trek, in my opinion, from this newest Kurtzman Trek. I didn't like Discovery. I watched 2 seasons of that. Two and a half, not even two and a half, two and a bit. Strange New Worlds, I really liked the first season. Second season let me down. Third season was okay, not great, but better than the second season. I actually have to say that Star Trek Stranger Worlds, I really like the characters portrayed in the Pike crew there. There is, as far as I know, there's 2 more seasons coming of that, with the fifth season being very short, and they're talking about doing the Kirk crew. I have some interest in that. We'll see where that goes. I still have more hope for Star Trek to get back to its roots of exploring mystery. The crew figures out problems that Trek. I still have hope for that, opposed to Star Wars, unfortunately, which I think Star Wars will never reach any pinnacle return, at least right now. So, Starfleet Academy, I did a video about this, that it wasn't my kind of show after seeing the trailer, and um, but here we are. I watched it last night, so here's my thoughts on it. I'm gonna go over, and I have on the side here the characters. I'm gonna talk about a few of them. So, first off, the main character, I guess, played by Holly Hunter, the captain or ambassador of this academy ship. And there will be spoilers, by the way, in this. Um, I'm gonna go over the actors, and then I'm gonna go kind of over the 3 episodes. Okay, and I'm gonna go over them as a whole. I think her character, Nala, if I pronouncing that right, she gets backstory a little bit, which helps. But I don't like her representation, I guess, of being a captain. Very, I mean, it's one thing to be laid back, but it's another thing to show your feet off. Sitting in the chair like she does is so weird to see a captain do that. Like you're lounging around. She sits in the captain's chair like she's sitting in a couch at home reading a book, and it's odd, man. It's odd. Okay. Um, her character is kind of eh to be leading captain here. Janeway, obviously, the only other female captain I remember from old Trek, was initially I didn't care for the character, but then as Voyager went on, and I have watched Voyager last year, I rewatched the entire series, and I respect it a lot more now than I did back then. I like Janeway; she's strong, female lead for a captain in that show. Very cool. Nala really isn't, but not totally terrible. She's half and half. Okay. All right. moving on from that, we have Caleb, played by someone I don't know, Sandro Rosta. Now, actually, this Caleb character is probably the only one I like entirely on the show because of his interesting background. However, it kind of, I mean, when I get into the plot, which I'm going to be talking about, um, I like his character arc to start. Then it kind of it's a main story, I guess, throughout this whole entire season. Um, he has to get kind of acclimated in from where we first see him to a time jump to the present, I guess, and his into the school and around people because this character really hasn't explored that too much. But I think the actor does a fine job. I will say he's the only character that I gravitate towards, especially because he's had a backstory that's decent or solid enough. Okay, moving on. So there's this Klingon. He ends up befriending the Caleb character. His name is J. Den Crag. Crag. Very tame Klingon of all Klingons I've ever seen. I don't really care for his character too much, at least in these 3 episodes. Um, yeah, he doesn't jump off the screen for me. Um, I don't know, it's kind of boring. Then we go on, and I'm trying to go through this quick because I'm not going to be talking about all the characters. It is nice to see the actor Oded Fear from the Mummy fame, the first 2 films anyway, and he's done some other stuff. Why does my nose go off every time I'm doing a freaking video? Like seriously, it knows. Um, so he plays. I was surprised to actually see him in this show. He plays a admiral of sorts, and he's basically like the cog that gets Holly Hunter's character back into Starfleet. So I mean, it's cool to see him in a role again. I like the actor. He's pretty good. Um, we have Laura, played by an actress that was in Bob Hearts of Shola, which I did not finish all the way through that show. Um, the Laura character is annoying. But that's not why I don't care for. The makeup sucks on her. It looks so artificial. And speaking of makeup, a lot of it on this show looks so artificial. There's some species that are fine, the costumes are fine, but there's parts of the makeup on some of the characters that are like walking around per se that it's just like what the hell, man, like it just shakes my head at it. Not a fan of the Laura character overall. She screams a lot. She gets mad. Yeah. I think that's all I really want to talk about, other than, of course, you got Robert Picardo to the comments that said, oh, he doesn't know the actor's name. The Doctor from Voyager is in this. He plays his usual self, humor there. It's fine. There is a character named Sam that latches onto him who's a hologram herself, apparently. I don't know. That's kind of weird. But the Doctor is fine. Now, for the plot, okay, I'm going to talk about the villain here because, yeah. So, Nala in the beginning of episode one, and the first 20 minutes are the best out of all three of these episodes. And the rest of it, boring. Which leads to why it's not a show for me. Okay? But I did watch these first three episodes, okay? But the first 20 minutes are very interesting because you have Nala, which I mentioned here. She basically, with the Caleb character, he is a kid at this point in the beginning with his mom, and a cataclysmic event called the Burn, I believe they mentioned, happened in the galaxy, which is like, oh, this is interesting, where people kind of have been scattered or whatnot, and Caleb and his mom are uh, turns out they're thieves. Paul Giamatti plays the villain here, and let me get his name. Um, Nas, Nus. So Paul Giamatti, Nas, uh, kills. Apparently, he's killed a lot at that point. He kills for feeding this mother and the kid. Now, I didn't pick up on whether or not Nas is the father or he's just some friend to the mother. I really didn't clue into that much of that. I was like honestly checking out for the rest of the episodes pretty much. But all in all, Nas is sent to prison, and um, Caleb loses his mother to being sent to a recreational place, leaving him orphaned. Um, I'm just gonna jump ahead 15 years later after this event, and Caleb is a criminal. There's actually this interesting sequence there that kind of like made me laugh, where he's handcuffed and he's the only one sitting in the back of this ship here with two guards, and there's one guard flying the ship, and then he manages to bite the ear of one guard, and they have a fight and all that kind of stuff, and it's this action sequences where he takes out pretty much all three of those guards, and he's trying to fly the thing so it doesn't crash and so on and so forth. But that's security for you, I guess. That there's part of that sequence I was laughing at, but anyway, he ends up being recaptured, or not really getting away at all. And then Nala visits him in this prison facility and offers him, to basically come to this Starfleet Academy school, and in that same process, help find his mother, who's alive at this point. So that interest there is the best part of this entire 3 episode run. Once he gets to the school, you meet all these other people. Um, One thing that really bugs me about the show more than anything else is the awkward humor. And I may sound like an old fogey saying this, but like Star Trek does not need the swearing in it. It never before required swearing in it. Oh, you have hell and damn, who cares? But beyond those words, there's no need for the swearing in it. I know it's a weird thing to say, but Star Trek is not that kind of show to me. This goes back to Picard and so on. Like it's just ridiculous. It just feels like it doesn't belong in any of these shows. They could get along with the plot and the characters without it. Okay, but enough of that. So the Nas villain eventually, you see that the the school is basically like this ship that has wings. It looks weird. It I guess they're trying to go with like the some kind of angelic ship look, but it's weird. It's long. I don't like the design of it. It's honestly one of the worst designs in any of the Star Trek ships I've ever seen. They've even had better looking ships than like Discovery and even Picard. This one's terrible. I hate it. Anyway, the ship eventually takes off. You see it warp. That's going along, and it in the first episode. I'm still talking about it. It stops at this one point in this asteroid belt, and all of a sudden it's attacked by these, I don't know, balls of fire things that render the ship useless, and that's when Naj's ship appears and forms like a damn transformer from pieces into one ship. It even looks ridiculous, like must be bloody Rubik's cube. And Nas kind of he's gets on the ship there, he gloats, and eventually he's stopped, and he has a fight with Caleb, and he gets away. But I just find that Paul Giamatti is weird in the villain role. Like, he's played some good characters and some buttholes in his career. But here in Star Trek, that character in particular just doesn't appeal to me as a villain. I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. Maybe it's the lines. Maybe it's just how he delivers it. I just don't care. Um, and then episode 2 and episode 3, which was the uh Frank episode, I guess you'll call it. It just gets dumber and dumber, to be honest. Takes me out of it when you had. I will say the first episode at least has some interesting, entertaining moments. Okay, you get the introductions of the characters, whatever. You got the awkward humor, whatever. You got the 20 minutes kind of like opening that's interesting and stuff, and then you get kind of the attack. It's hilarious though because they just took this ship out. You see for the first time, and then automatic it gets stopped and attacked by Nas. They for some reason love to take like any of these Enterprise or whatever ships and just like have them messed up right away. I don't know what it is. It's just funny to me. Oh, that's a nice looking ship. We just put it together today. Let's take it out for a spin. And then it gets attacked and blows up. Like it's hilarious. Um, yeah, the show's not for me. Despite it having um and Kayla being interesting as character and stuff, but it's a high school ish. It's pretty much like I feel like it's Harry Potter in space. That's what it feels like, this show. That's what I think they're trying to do with it. That's what it feels like to me. Okay. But the big difference is, I mean, obviously you got the Harry Potter's fantasy and Star Trek sci fi. But in Harry Potter, they have mysteries and solve them, and lots of twists and cool stuff happens and reveals. But I feel like these first three episodes is just it's a 90210 kind of show to me. It feels like that. It just takes me out of it. Okay. But I say the biggest thing is the stupid, awkward humor that's irritating and cringy. Okay. Is it the worst Star Trek show ever? Even though it's only three episodes, I'm going to say no. Picard, for me, was. Picard season 1 and 2 were terrible. And what's funny about that is Picard season 3 was awesome, which got the old TNG crew back, finished off their storyline, and rolled off into the sunset, so to speak. And that was an amazing season, and I enjoyed it a lot. Where Picard season 1 and 2, it's like a totally different what if universe. Same with this show. So, I mean, I could see people liking it. Like, you know. Um, and I probably said that in my other videos were like, nowadays, like a lot of the sci fi sets and everything are clean and crisp. I get the Academy, the Starfleet Academy being clear and clean and uniforms clean and all that because it's a school. It makes sense to have that glisten here. Um, but yeah, would the show get better from the last episodes? I think there's like seven more. I don't know. And I don't really care to find out. It could, but it's just not interesting me at all. No, the first 20 minutes in episode 1 did, but after that, it's kind of like, eh. But I gave it the college try. I just wanted to put out my opinion on it. I am not out here to bash this show or the actors in it, okay? Like, they all are doing their jobs. And I feel like this show, there, I could see people liking it for what it is. I don't believe that it deserves hate from hell from everybody. And being a Star Trek fan, and I'm not a super fan, okay? I'm not like, oh my god, like they did this, they did nostalgia, how dare they? I'm not, okay? Like, I like Strange New World season 1, and I have to say, season 3 was better than season 2, but I really like the characters a lot that they've done with that show because it reminds me a lot more of old Trek as much as it can. I love what they did with the Gorn in that show. They made the Gorn from kind of that silly Kirk Gorn fight from the original series. God bless their hearts because of the time period and what they could do with the technology then, but they made the Gorn like terrifying, awesome as an antagonist, and I'm really impressed by that all through that show. Um, that to me is probably the best Trek show in this Kurtzman run that they have come out with. Is it perfect? No. But that's my show right there. My favorite character in that show is Captain Pike. Forgive me, I don't recall the all the names there, but I really like the I like all the crew. Um, there was one crew member that he got killed in the first season, and his death actually was quite impactful to me. Uh, I thought they did a really good job with it. So when it comes to Starfleet Academy, it's not for me, but I don't believe that it deserves all this hate, and I think it's because people yearn for the old Trek Well, unfortunately, that's gone the way of the Warrior. And until a new team or new producer or new owner of this Star Trek stuff comes in and goes kind of 360 to great shows that are more closer to the exploratory Trek, this is what's coming out. I don't like it. I'm not a fan, other than Strange New Worlds, like I said. But it's just it can be irritating seeing the hate coming out just for clickbait. And I'm not here to bash this show. Okay, it's not for me. I admit it, it's not for me. I've said it a bunch of times. But I want to come on and tell you that it's there. It's I could see people liking it. And that's where I'm going to end the video here. So I got through the three episodes. Now I'm going to be watching any more because I don't really care to. But honestly, go watch it yourself. Form your own opinion about it. You might like it and watch it all the way through. And that's where I'm going to end this.